Okay, so we're going to talk about CPP OAS and personal savings and try and get through this a little bit quicker. Spend a little more time on the plan because the MEB plan is going to be the biggest piece of your retirement income, right? And it's important for you to know how it works, be able to answer some of the questions and understand what's there for you. With the government plans, there's really three. There's Canada Pension Plan, which you've probably heard of, Old Age Security, which you've probably heard of, and GIS, Guaranteed Income Supplement, which you may not have heard of. Odds are most individuals in here are not going to qualify for the GIS because you have to hit a low income threshold to qualify for it. By definition, if you've been in this plan for 25 years, odds are you're probably not going to qualify for it because your pension's going to be enough to offset you. Okay. So CPP. So CPP is a benefit, that a retirement benefit funded by your employer and yourself. Again, you look at your paycheck and you see money coming off going to CPP. That's what you're funding. The idea of CPP is that it's going to replace about 25% of the average Canadian's income, which again is about $57,000 or estimated to be about $57,000 in 2019. And the enhanced CPP, so there's been some changes, starts in 2019. I can tell you if you are not a teenager, the enhanced CPP is really not going to do a whole lot for you right now, so I wouldn't worry too much about all these CPP enhancements. They're all built for the longer term. My kid's going to get the value out of it. I'll see a little bit more. If you're 5 years from retirement, I wouldn't worry about it because it's not going to do much for you. Really go off of what you currently have in terms of the CPP accrual. Key features. So to be eligible, you need to have contributed to CPP and you need to start it, you need to be at least age 60. It's based on your years of contributions to CPP. So starting from age 18, if you've been working, you've had deductions go to CPP, and it'll look at all those years that you've actually been contributing to the plan. If you've had years, it'll take the lowest 15% of your earnings years and carve them out, which means they'll remove them from the formula to look at how much CPP you actually get. So example, if you were on mat leave, or if you were on disability or you're unemployed for a period of years, where you were only working part-time, that part may get carved out to calculate your CPP. The maximum benefit in 2019 currently is about $1,100 a month, so about $12,000 a year from CPP. If you decide to retire before age 65, it's reduced by 0.6% per month, or about 6% a year, up to a maximum of 36% when you start at age 60, if you start at age 60. If you decide to defer it, because again, like your pension, you can say, no, I'm going to wait and I'll start CPP later, they will actually increase your CPP. They'll reward you for not using it if you don't need it right away. And they'll increase it by 0.7% a month up to age 71. So if you took it at age 71, your CPP would be increased by 42% because again, your life expectancy, you're taking it over a shorter period of time, they're going to gross it up for you. And then CPP is adjusted for cost of living each year for inflation. So they recognize that things get more expensive year over year, and so CPP actually increases year over year. So if you get $1,000 or $1,100 this month or this year, next year it might be $1,150, but it actually increases through your retirement with cost of living adjustments. Some of the other features of CPP is it has a survivor benefit. So if you pass away because you contributed to CPP, there is a survivor benefit that's payable to a spouse or a dependent child, either in the form of a lump sum or through an additional payment to them. The benefit is age and income based. So I can't tell you what the number is going to be because it's going to look at what the income is for the family and the age of the individual. But I can tell you that you will get some sort of benefit that would go to your beneficiary out of the plan. You can share your CPP. It can be split between two spouses to reduce taxes. So again, when it comes to managing your tax in retirement, you can actually split the CPP. So 50% goes to you, 50% goes to your spouse or partner. May or may not be necessary depending on if you've been working. So in my case, I work and my wife is at home with our children. So to reduce taxes, it would make sense for me to split it because she's not actually accruing CPP. So if we split it, then we can reduce our taxes by half going to me and half going to her. The key is when you apply for CPP, you have to make that election. So you have to tell them at that point in time that you're doing it. You can't claim it on your taxes as part of pension income splitting. There's different ways you can do that with other plans, but not with CPP. You actually have to declare it when you make the filing to say, I want to start CPP, that you're splitting it between the two of you. And post-retirement benefits. So you can actually keep working while you are receiving CPP. You can start at age 60 and keep working. And what will happen is you'll get your CPP payments, but you'll still be contributing to the plan. So it'll actually grow each year for each additional year you've worked. So if you start at age 60 and you continue to work to age 65, each year your CPP benefit's going to go up a little bit because you've put new contributions into it. So as an example, if you retired on January 1st, 2019, you were 61, you had 25 years of payments, your CPP benefit would be about $750 a month because it's been reduced for 4 years of early retirement. So 6% a year times 4 years, you're going to have a slight reduction in the plan, about 24 years, or 24%, it's $750. What you can see is it varies, right? So depending on what you had, so if we looked at $750 and multiplied it by different reductions or increases, then what happens is if you're at age 61, you retired, so sorry, it's $750 because you haven't got the full CPP, but if you took the $750, reduced it for 4 years, you get $534. At 62, you would get $588 if you decide to start it. If you deferred it to age 67, you would actually get more. You would get $876 a month. So depending on when you start it, when you actually feel you need to start your CPP can affect how much you're going to get. So survivor benefits, again, we talked a little bit about this. Is it going backwards? There we go. So enhanced CPP, I've included this slide just for information. The reality is, the big thing for you to know is that over the next 7 years, your contributions are going to increase year over year over year. So it was 4.95% last year. It's 5.1% of your pension this year, or your income this year, ultimately until it gets to about 5.95%, up to roughly the first $72,000 of income. And then there'll be an additional enhanced CPP that's going to cost about 4% for the income over $72,000 up to $82,000. So for that next $10,000 between 82 and 72, there's an additional 4% that'll go to an enhanced CPP. So again, if you're close to retirement, you're not going to see a lot out of this. You're just going to see that the increases in your contributions, you'll get a slight bump in your CPP benefits, but the individuals that'll really see the benefit are those that are just starting the workforce today. So how do you, yep. Mm-hmm. So if you're already receiving a survivor benefit and then your spouse passes away, I'm not 100% sure. I believe you are, but again, the income that you're getting from the first survivor benefit would be part of the income test. So what you get out of the second survivor benefit may not be as large because that's all considered as part of the test. So, but again, I'm not 100% sure. That's something that if you contact the Service Canada, they would be able to answer for you. So, okay. How do you apply for CPP? Well, first thing to know is when to apply. So if you look to start your CPP benefit, you want to probably do it at least 6 months in advance. You may be aware, but the government is not fast. So if you need to get anything processed, you want to give them enough heads up so that you're starting your pension if you actually need it to start on that date. I heard a year is better. Yeah. Well, if you know a year in advance, then you're probably better off to start a year in advance. But if they can't process it by the date you want, they do retroactive payments. So if they miss a month or two, you'll get a lump sum for those 2 months of payments and then catch up to it. But ultimately, it's a timing issue. And if it's important to you to start that income on that specific date, you want to give them as much lead time as possible. So you can visit Service Canada to complete an online form and submit electronically, or you can print off the PDF and mail it to Service Canada. But the website is there for you to reach out and contact them when you're deciding to commence. They will not contact you to start your CPP, so you need to tell them that you want to start it, okay? People just assume, and we're going to talk about that with OAS as well, people just assume because it's government, and I'm 65, time to start this. The onus is on you. They're not going to worry about you until you reach out to them. So this is, okay. Old age security. So old age security is the other government benefit you'll be entitled to. This one is funded through tax revenue, so you don't contribute to it. It's just through general tax revenues. OAS is estimated to replace about 15% of the average Canadian's income. So if you remember, CPP was 25%, OAS is 15%. The idea is that it's going to replace about 40% of your overall retirement income. And then you have your pension plan on top of that. So if you were making $57,000 a year, you would have about 40% from CPP and OAS. And then if you work 25 years in the MEB plan, you'd have probably another 35 to 40%. So you'd already be at about 75 to 80% of your retirement income or your current income through the various sources of retirement income before any personal savings. Yes. Yeah. But gross income in retirement and gross income in working years are also very different. What are the key features? Well, you need to be age 65 to start it, and you have to be a legal resident of Canada or lived in Canada for at least 10 years after age 18. So there's residency requirement, and there's an age requirement for OAS. Everybody's entitled to OAS, regardless of whether you're working or not. So whereas I talked about my wife not really having a CPP benefit, both of us would be eligible for an OAS benefit because we're Canadian residents, and when we get to age 65. The benefit in 2019 is about $600 a month. So again, it's about $7,200 a year that you would get from old age security. If you decide to wait to draw old age security, it'll increase by 0.5% per month after age 65 all the way up to age 70. So it's not age 71, but it's age 70 with the old age security. Now, if you have a whole lot of income in different places, there is a clawback in old age security. So if your retirement income is pretty significant, then they're going to say, well, you really don't need old age security, and we're going to start to take some of that back. It starts at about $80,000. So if you have $80,000 in retirement income between all your different sources, then they're going to start to reduce it. And there's a formula for doing that. When you get to about 130,000 in retirement income, then you don't receive OAS. But if you're getting $130,000 in retirement income, you're probably not too worried about your OAS at that point. So you seem to be doing okay. It is adjusted for cost of living increases. It's done quarterly, so CPP is done annually. This one's actually done quarterly. So there's increases every quarter. Yeah.
Was it last few years, the eligibility is now 67, isn't it?
So
If you don't fit the criteria of that.
So the criteria was that it was going to be age 67. So the prior government had moved it up to age 67 as the eligibility for old age security, and then the current government actually brought it back down to age 65. Yeah, so it's age 65 for old age security.
Wasn't even aware of that.
Yeah. So how do you apply for old age security? Same way. Well in advance. And again, they're not going to reach out to you. And you visit Service Canada to apply for it. So it's the same process. Again, if you're starting both benefits at the same time, you can basically do it all at once. But you do need to reach out to the government to get it going. OAS will start the later of the month you meet the residence requirements, your 65th birthday, or the start date after you requested on your application. So you can set a date at any point in time to say, I want to start it at age 67, get those little bit of increases, and they'll start at age 67. It's just whenever you reach out to them. Earliest is going to be age 65, latest will be age 70. You can pick whenever in between that you want to start it. The guaranteed income supplement, again, so this I don't spend a whole lot of time on because in most cases it's not going to apply for individuals, but for low income individuals, there are also other government benefits in retirement that they're eligible for. The GIS, spousal allowance, and spousal survivor allowance. You have to be in receipt of old age security to apply, so it applies only to those 65 and older. Again, it's a minimum, it's an income level. So if you're not below a certain income threshold, you're not eligible for GIS.